Welcome to The View. And, as usual, we'll be talking politics later in the show. But I want to start by wishing President Obama a happy 55th birthday. And I would jump out of a cake for you, but I was afraid.
Happy birthday,
Mr. President.
the most awesome president. That sounds like your sexy happy birthday voice. That's what it was.
Oh, Marilyn Monroe.
I know, I love that. I'm old enough to know about that. It's okay.
How many people remember Marilyn Monroe singing Happy Birthday, President Kennedy?
I've seen it on YouTube.
Yeah. How many people don't know what we're talking about?
It's on YouTube.
Because they've seen it all over the place.
It was the sexiest thing. I mean, I think it got everyone
Yeah, Jackie
talking.
Kennedy thought so, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. But while we're on the topic of sex, Ozzy Osbourne is the latest celebrity who claims he suffers from sex addiction. Now, I always thought marriage was a cure for sex addiction, but what do I know? So they say it's a real disorder. Do you buy that?
There's too many is the problem. Everything is an addiction. Everything is a disorder. Everything is a disease. I think there are probably certain cases of sex addiction out there, but there's also a bunch of people who have really bad habits that are willing to say, you know what, I cheated, but it's sex addiction. Or I ate that sheet cake, so it's sugar addiction. Or there's like too many, there's too much of that.
But at the same time, we do have things that are in our world that we get addicted to because we as humans have not fully caught up to the technology that we're creating. So there's sugar, there's coffee, there's all of these things that our body is like, oh, I'm attached to. Yeah. And that pleasure sensor, those sexual pleasures get magnified. And
But why is it always a man?
No, women can have sexual.
You
know that the original women?
It's not that common.
Yes, it is. It's called nymphomania. That was what they named women that had hypersexuality, which is what they call sex addiction today.
I think they call them nymphomaniacs because the women just liked sex.
Yeah.
Like, there you go.
It's such nonsense to me. You don't believe in sex addiction? I believe in sex addiction. I think that men get caught and they're like, I'm so sorry, baby, I have a sex addiction. It is such nonsense. And the reason I know this to be true is because hypersexual behavior disorder is not in the 5th edition of the Diagnostic Statistical Manual for Psychiatric Disorders in the DSM-5. It would be in the DSM-5.
Hypersexuality is a clinical diagnosis used by mental health care researchers and provides and describes extremely frequent or suddenly increased sexual urges or sexual
And
activity.
it's not in the DSM-5, which basically means that it does not exist.
We put so much stock in studies and research. I remember there was a study that came out a couple of years ago, and it said that sugar didn't have a physiological effect on children. Yeah, I called B, you know what, on that. If I give my kids sugar, they freak out. Okay? I don't need you to spend $100. Sex addiction is real. They also said that lesbian and gay people had a mental illness, and look, that got disproven as well.
This is not...
There's also something known as willpower.
I remember you're a lesbian and you're actually crazy, though. That could happen.
Then you're me.
That has nothing to do with me.
Maybe you have a job on television. I don't know what you're talking about.
Go ahead. No, there's also something known as willpower. I remember my grandpa, he smoked cigarettes for 50 years. And I went to him one day, I was a little girl, and I said, Grandpa, I want you to be here to see me get married. And he said in that moment, he said, you know what? He put that pack of cigarettes down and that was done. And that's something that's lost in society now. The ability to say, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not cheating. I'm not eating too much sugar. It's willpower, personal responsibility.
Because think about it. When someone has this alleged sexual addiction, which doesn't exist.
It does.
But if it did exist, what are the withdrawal symptoms? So they stop having sex and what?
This
They get
has happened.
shakes?
No, the addiction. I've seen this affect people, and the symptoms are real. You go from partner to partner, affair to affair. You have unprotected sex. You're typically looking at porn, and a lot of times these people, they're going through depression, financial woes. There's always a reason behind it, but the difference between, I think for me, the difference is these people aren't just, they crave sex. They're not craving intimacy and connection, and it is real, and there are people that are going through it today, and I think we need to recognize it and give them support.
I'm not recognizing.
All right, right here.
I have a question for the panel. battle on this topic. Is it sex addiction if you just want to have sex with your wife? Seriously. I have a husband. Or your well, all right. I think it's mostly males. Let's call it what it is. It's mostly guys. And
No,
it's,
it's definitely women as well.
Well, okay. This particular person I'm thinking of, he always wants to have his sex constantly with his wife. No, it's not Steve. Not Steve.
My husband?
How do you know all this?
Not my husband. My girlfriend of mine.
Okay.
Her husband always wants to have sex with her.
Why is that a bad thing?
It's constant. They've been together for like 20 some odd years.
That's amazing, though. He's still got the hots for his wife
Isn't it
after
sex
so many
addiction?
But here's my question. I think it would be, my assessment, I would think it would be a sex addiction if he had sex with his wife and went outside the relationship.
No,
and
he
had sex
doesn't. He's
elsewhere.
totally monogamous.
When the person cheats and blames it on the sex addiction, that gives a bad notion to all the people who actually have this hypersexuality problem.
And he even says when he's alone, you get my point,
Yeah.
he thinks about her. She's like, would you please think about somebody else for a change? She doesn't even want him to think about her at this point.
She should give herself a pat on the back because I just think it's a testament she's that good.
All right, well, I'll tell her. All right, want to start another topic?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's see. They say that, cheating, they say people are most likely to cheat on their spouse, since we're on this topic, when they hit 39 years old, or at the 9th year of every other decade, for those of you at the table who haven't hit 39. Could you see yourself cheating?
So it's 39, 59.
I guess 59.
Well, it's every other year. Every
Every other decade. So it's 39, 59, 79.
You've got, what, 6 more years to it? You know, hey, there are people who get it in. There are people who get it in at older ages. I watched this show called 7 Deadly Sins on Showtime, and they talk about it, and it's very interesting. Yeah, my parents still have it cooking, and they're 80 and 76. But it's funny you say 39. My husband turns 40 tomorrow, so I sent him this study, and I said, "One more day, sweetie." He said, "Good thing I'm going to a worship conference tonight." That's his report. But
There's
yeah,
more sex at these worship conferences.
There you go.
there you go.
It is.
You know what I think about it, though? I think that years ago, like 100 years ago, people, their lifespan was 40. They would die at 40. Now, you hit 40, and your body is saying, come on, you're not going to die. Let's do something now, new. I think that's what happens to people.
It's midlife crisis.
It's like your body's wired to do something at 40.
Well, I don't know. I have so many friends turning 40, and they're doing all these crazy things. They're buying cars. They're like hiking the Himalayas. They're like going on these searches. It's awesome, but it's clearly that they're struggling with the fact that they're turning 40.
What would you rather them do at 40? Sit down and just wait to die?
Definitely not have a sex addiction.
I don't think they're struggling with who they are. I think they're realizing it is time to seize the day. Time to live. I'm tired of living like other people.
We gotta go. When we come back, I hate to be abrupt, but we have a show to do here. We'll be right back with more husbands.
Coming up, after a string of Donald disasters, are GOP heavyweights about to stage a Trump intervention? So the ladies got real about sex.
A study found that the millennials are twice as likely to be sexually inactive.
They don't have time to get offline. They don't go to the bar to ask somebody out. They text it.
They don't appreciate empty, meaningless sex like my generation.
OMG! Anything goes. Tomorrow on the View at the DC.
Whoa! I mean, everybody's talking about, there are rumors about how they're going to try to get Trump out of the race and maybe put Paul in there. And his own manager says,
Campaign chairman.
oh my God, whatever he's called.
Whatever he is.
He's starting to remind me of an Elvis impersonator, Manafort.
He is.
What is that?
He's terrible.
But they're all tired. They're all tired of defending this guy. I think they're exhausted. This is wishful thinking, like somebody please come save me. The thing about Paul Ryan, it's true.
Yeah, and she's a Republican.
The thing about Paul Ryan is, you know how Justin Bieber has the fangirls? Paul Ryan has that in politics. There is a group of people that are constantly like, Paul Ryan's the savior. This is the guy.
Yeah.
I just remind them, go back to the Romney-Ryan ticket. Ryan is not good at this. He's a policy wonk. He's great behind the scenes. He's a smart guy. When he gets out there in campaigns, he's a dud. He doesn't make the sales pitch to people.
Well, when he
doesn't pull out. He takes a backseat. He took a backseat to Romney. So people who are looking for someone, look, Donald Trump got the popular support.
Yeah.
This is the guy. Take responsibility for this.
But let me ask you something. Which Republican do you think is charismatic? I can't think of one.
Enough?
I mean, he's out of my low-key sort of
Susanna Martinez, Governor Susanna Martinez in New Mexico, I think is fantastic.
John Kasich. A lot of people like
John
John
Kasich,
Kasich
I think,
as
has
well.
a certain
Yeah, I love Kasich. No,
I like
it's
him,
not
but I
about
don't think he's
personality, but I think a lot of people were drawn to him.
Yes, but
Can I just say about his slip up? And I've recently, throughout my life, have known to slip up my words. And I'm not, standing up for anybody on the Republican side in that sense, but he slipped up. I mean, he just slipped up his words, right? Can we take it as that as well? Yeah. Maybe he didn't really mean it the way everybody's digging into it. Maybe he just has been thinking about the president.
The timing of it is just...
I mean, the timing of anything at any time can be taken in a certain way.
It was maybe a Freudian slip, though. I mean, maybe he's like actually thinking about it and it kind of came out.
I think it could be both. I don't even want to give you that, Sarah, so I apologize. I know you might have slipped through your tongue, because I know what that feels like. And one thing that's indisputable, I mean, Paul Manafort was on GMA this morning, interviewed by George Stephanopoulos, and he did say that this has become a divide, whether or not you're supporting Paul Ryan or not. You know, we have the Republican nominee who is not supporting Paul Ryan, yet his vice president, Mike Pence, has publicly supported him. So there are this is causing a divide within the own party.
It's beautiful. It's like Paul Ryan says, I'm still going to support Trump. And now he doesn't support him back. He deserves it. I'm sorry.
But then the answer to the campaign
Well, but we've been talking about that all along. It took the Republicans so long to sort of get behind Donald Trump. Then those that have gotten behind him, he slaps them.
He just goes like this.
Slaps
he does this.
and now they're talking about an intervention, right?
There were rumors that Donald had so many disasters lately that Republican heavyweights are about to stage an intervention. Now, what is that? An intervention with a narcissist look like? Do they cover the mirrors? And do they confiscate the self-tanner? I mean, what do they do?
They do, and the interesting thing about the intervention theory is that it sounds a lot like the broker convention theory that they had before when they were trying to get him out. There's nothing that can force Donald Trump out. He would have to leave voluntarily, and he's such a narcissist. He's not going to leave.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to leave. But Jen, you were saying you don't even think he really ever wanted the job.
I don't think he ever wanted this job. I think he didn't want this job. No, he viewed this as an opportunity to promote the Trump brand. No. He never thought he was going to get this far. I can tell you. I think he's up there saying, "Oh my God, I said that, and I'm still getting votes. What's going on?" I think you're right. I think you're right. And I'm going to tell you something. If the numbers flip on him and it looks like he's going to take a big loss, I guarantee you already saw that he was coming out saying this is rigged. There's going to be a story, and he will opt out. He's not going to lose this big.
Really think he
I think there's a possibility that he will step aside to save himself. This is about him.
I would like to take that bet.
About Donald Trump.
I would like to take that bet because I don't think he's ever going to.
All right, do you think he's going to apologize? I mean, now that everybody's trying to say you messed with another veteran, like what's
going to happen? What's amazing is that his people are still on his side after he messed with a veteran, a father whose child died saving other Americans.
Yeah.
I mean, how bankrupt, let me ask you a question. How bankrupt is the Republican Party who still stands behind this guy when they've been waving the flag for how many years now and talking about how we love our veterans, and they're still standing behind Donald Trump?
I think there's a lot who aren't, though. But there's a lot who've called him out. I mean, you look at John McCain, you look at John Kasich, you look at a lot of
He's still going to vote for him. He's not. He didn't say. McCain said he will still vote for him.
There's a lot of people saying they're going to vote for Donald Trump that I promise you are going to step into that vote.
You know what? I don't care what they do in the privacy of the booth. It's what they say that counts, not what they do in the booth. You're not a spokesperson for Trump.
Yeah, but it does depend on what they do in the booth. They can say all they want to, but if they don't,
no, what matters in the booth is what these people do and we do. It doesn't matter what McCain does. McCain has to speak out against.
He did. I keep on wondering, when does the Republican Party decide that country is more important than party? Like, when do they step forward and say, my country is more important than my party affiliation?
But the issue is that the people, conservatives, people on the right, feel abandoned by the party for a long time. They feel like the Republican Party is not fighting for limited government. You got guys out there like Rand Paul who are saying Republicans are ballooning the debt too. They're part of the problem, so they feel abandoned by the party. Then you got this buffoon running, I'm sorry, but that's what he is, who's pretending to be a limited government guy.
Do those Republicans stay at home? Do they stay at home?
I think a lot of Republicans are going to do write-ins. I think they're going to vote for Gary Johnson or they're going to stay at home because they cannot vote for Hillary and they can't in good ethics vote for Trump. That's me. I can't vote for either one of those people. I'm writing in Gary Johnson.
Let them stay home.
For a lot of people, for them, we have like the two most unlikable candidates. Somebody said to me, it's like choosing between the devil and the Antichrist. Here, it's like, who do you choose? But for some, it's going to be the end game. I mean, you have a possibility for this particular president to appoint 3 Supreme Court justices. And I think a lot of people are trying to look past the many flaws of each of these candidates.
Which one is the devil, though?
That's the question. That's the million-dollar question.
Well, if Hillary is the devil, I'd rather have a competent devil than an incompetent devil.
Later, the Joker gets serious. The Oscar winner Jared Leto claims is being ignored by Hollywood.
So, a woman wrote an op-ed about how her boyfriend was intimidated when she told him her sexual history, so she dumped him.
Good for her.
Now, have you ever told, can you relate at all?
I mean, I'm open. But no, I'm open. When I date someone, I tell them. I mean, I can count, you know, the number of guys I've been with on less than 2 hands, honestly. I'm one of those girls that gotta be in love. I'm like nauseating, but, you know, it's true.
You actually tell them
how many, and I want to know because I think it tells you something about who they are as a person. If you're the kind of guy who, for example, has a lot of one-night stands or you view sex in a certain way, I'm not doing it to be judgy. I'm doing it because you might not be the right match for me. I want someone who takes it seriously.
Do you tell them before they ask?
No, I mean, I tell them when it's time. Like, I ask first. If you date someone, I ask them, like, hey,
want that information.
I want to know who you are as a human, and that's part of your story to me.
I agree. I don't do it necessarily to know who they are. I do it because I'm actually curious. Like, I want to know what you did.
Do you have a problem if there are a lot of partners? Or are you okay with it?
I would.
I mean, there's that thing
Disgusting.
that, it's the thing that, Martin Lawrence back in the day when I used to date guys, that Martin Lawrence always said that, I said, is there a bubble? Is there a boil? Like, you gotta go through the list to see how safe everything is. But otherwise, no, I want to know because I need to know if I'm walking down the street and I need to know, like, who that was. And I'm curious.
Do you want to know what they did together? Do you want to
Yeah, I want to know
all of
details.
that?
I do.
I'm kind of with you. I think it's important to be honest up front. Yes, honesty is the best policy. But it's important to be honest up front with somebody. And you know what? If you're on the receiving end of not the sex, but in the relationship, but if you know this, you need to be able to accept it and move on. This is not something that you need to hang over their head. You have to accept it, and if you can't accept it, then just cut off the relationship right away.
No. I feel like I'm sitting in outer space. Like, I don't want to know. I think you just move forward. You know, your past is your past, and you move forward. I'm not going to judge my husband because of a sexual partner he had 10 years ago. I'm not going to judge my husband because he slept with how many women.
But you just said that multiple partners is gross.
You guys, I don't like it, but I don't want to know about it. I definitely don't want to know about it. Like, I just think it's in the past.
What if it was a pattern of behavior that said something about him as a person?
But he doesn't have that pattern anymore. So why? We give people too much information.
I never really asked. I was always interested in, well, was she prettier than me?
You want to know that?
I used to ask questions like, what does she look like? Stuff like that. Did she do a particular thing?
Really? Is she more flexible than I am?
Is she more flexible?
I mean, which isn't going to happen.
I want to be in my own relationship, in my own relationship bubble. I don't want to know about all that.
All right.
If I'm dating you,
all
I
right,
need to know
stay in
your
the bubble.
history.
We'll be right back. Jared Leto, who won an Oscar for playing a transgender woman in Dallas Buyers Club, claims in a recent GQ interview that gay actors don't get the same chances as straight ones in Hollywood. And that includes playing straight or gay. Are students afraid that audiences won't buy a gay actor in a straight leading role or a gay role, it seems? Because all these straight actors, supposedly, they're the ones who get the gay roles.
You know, I didn't think that at first. I thought they're actors, and so you can be gay and play a straight actor, or you can be straight and play a gay actor. But there was a study done, and according to Variety, last year 6 in 10 adults say they would be less likely to see an action film with a gay leading man or woman, while 4 in 10 said they'd be more likely to skip an action film with a lead gay character. So people actually feel that way.
It's ridiculous.
Which I was shocked by.
I thought it was only about, I could see, you know, I remember people saying when it came to romantic comedies, they couldn't, you know, if you put if Ryan Gosling winds up being gay and then you go and watch The Notebook, you can't imagine that he would woo you. I understood that perspective to an extent, but I don't know why sexuality becomes such a defining point. I mean, it's just part of who a person is. If you're an actor, you should be able to play anything. You gotta accept that.
I don't think so, because the way the audience takes actors is exactly that the person they write. For instance, and I'll explain myself. People think that I am That's So Raven, because that's what I played for 5 years. People think that I have visions. People think that I'm... Are you serious?
Is this a real thing you say?
You guys, I'm not lying. This is serious. I get asked on a daily, what's my future? And I don't know if they're joking. I don't know if they're serious, but this is the thing. And so you have people like Anthony Hopkins who says, you know, who got mad that that letter got out that he was a fan of Breaking Bad. Because if you know the person's personal life, you can't differentiate them in their character. And I think that's what happens. And it's sad. I'm sorry to continue. I know we have other people to talk. But you have openly gay actors out here representing for who they are in a straight manner, in a gay manner, in any way that you want to. You have Zachary Quinto, you have Matt Boomer, Neil Patrick Harris, you have Wanda Sykes, you have Portia de Rossi, and then you have people that we know are and still don't come out because there is this old school 20th century way of thinking that it's not okay to be who you are because I might not get the job. Try being thicker than a size 2 and then try not to get the job.
Do you think that you haven't received jobs since you've come out?
I haven't received jobs before I came out because I was too fat.
Wow.
I lost weight and I got all this publicity. Oh my God, she's so skinny. I said, oh, now y'all paying attention. That's cute for you. Go sit down somewhere.
But do you think coming out as a lesbian has hurt your career?
I got this job after so.
Well, this job is different.
It's not different. A job is a job.
I know, but it's not acting. It's not, and I don't think that the audience cares if a woman plays a romantic role, even though they know she's gay. It's the men who suffer more.
And if you think about it, if you actually think about it, do you remember when Rupert Everett came out in right after that Julia Roberts movie, and that severely affected his career. But try naming one male in a leading romantic role. I mean, Neil Patrick Harris, I guess, in Gone Girl, that played a heterosexual male.
Yeah, but he wasn't playing a lover. He was
Matt was playing a lover. Yes, he was in a heterosexual romantic relationship.
I hate to change the subject. Just want to, since we're on entertainment, my favorite topic. I just want to say that Ava DuVernay. Congratulations on being the first black woman to direct a $100 million film.
Yeah.
And that is a Disney film. Ava DuVernay.
Okay, well, of course she directed Selma, but this is amazing for her.
I mean, this is a big deal, and it's sad that it's happening in 2016.
Why did it take so long?
It took, well, hello.
That's the $1 million question. We're going to answer another $1 million question. The summer season of the View Fantasy Movie League. It is in the record books, everyone, and here to announce which one of us took the top spot in the co-host competition and the viewer who won the grand prize. Everyone, please welcome ESPN senior fantasy analyst and the creator of FantasyMovieLeague.com, Matthew Berry. Hi, Matthew.
Hi, guys.
Okay. You know that we can all be really competitive. This was a cutthroat competition.
No doubt about it. You guys went back and forth. Raven made a strong case, but ultimately, Joy was the winner. But you look at those standings, Paula. What happened?
Wow. Listen, I was always taught that the last shall be first, right? Isn't there like a prize for last place? That's
Look at that.
I got my butt beat. You got your own kids.
Steamrolled you.
All right, look at that. Okay, by the way, we do need a cleanup on aisle 6 over here. So,
Can you say this job is an actor?
so who was the overall winner from our viewers, and what was the prize?
Yeah, so John Meehan, he is a PhD student at Brown University. His in his studio Backseat Directing, he made over $1 billion at the box office of the Fantasy Movie League.
Wow.
And so he great prize. So he is going to get a pair of movie tickets every week for a year. And we're not done. And he gets to go to the world premiere of Pete's Dragon, starring Bryce Dallas Howard and Robert Redford, this Monday in Los Angeles. He's taking his mom.
That's wonderful. Thanks, very good. Thanks to Matthew Berry, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jennifer Ashton. Many families are planning their summer vacations now, just as the Zika virus is spreading in the United States. I will tell you what we know and what we don't know about Zika coming up next.
Many people are in a panic since the Zika virus began spreading here in America. But how dangerous is it, and who really needs to worry about it? We're getting answers from ABC News chief, women's health correspondent, and author of the new book, Eat This, Not That, When You're Expecting, Dr. Jennifer Ashton. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, guys.
Dr. Jen, yeah. So, now people are in a panic because it's in a certain neighborhood in Miami, Florida.
Right.
How come it's the neighborhood?
Well, they did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They did. They told it.
Okay.
But the point is, if it's there, make no mistake, it's not just those mosquitoes that are there. And I think the word panic may be a little bit too strong, but be crystal clear, there should be cause for concern on everybody's behalf, not just pregnant women, as if that isn't enough. And really, the latest that we know, 15 cases in the Miami-Dade area that were the first U.S. cases of mosquito-to-human transmission, but there is so much more about this virus that is still unknown from a scientific and medical standpoint. We have literally the world's smartest doctors and scientists working around the clock for this, and there are still way more questions than there are answers for this, and it is very
So it can
concerning.
easily spread to other states because these are airborne
It's
little
not a matter of could, Joy. It's really a matter of when, and that's the point.
But aren't there are over 1,600 cases here in the U.S. that were either sexually transmitted or people went to another country, and then the Zika carrying mosquito was in 30 States. So it's just a matter of that mosquito biting somebody and then passing it along.
And there's actually unpublished data. This comes out of Northeastern University. This paper is being reviewed for publication right now that using mathematical and computer models suggests that the CDC numbers, which are based on reported and confirmed cases, could be underestimates of the U.S. Zika cases by tens of thousands. And that has to be interpreted with caution, but understand that when you talk about numbers and estimation and geographic spread and person-to-person spread, it's very hard to track those cases, and there's always a lag time between confirmed and reported cases.
Let me ask you this, because, we know that women that are pregnant or get pregnant when they have Zika could give birth to children with birth defects. But for everyone else, is it really a concern? Do we need to be concerned about it?
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you asked that, Sunny, because there is this misconception that, well, if I'm not pregnant or I'm not going to get pregnant, not my problem. First of all, I really do believe that in this day and age, we have to look at every potential pregnant woman as all of our issues, because her baby can have a lifelong neurologic deficit that we are all going to have to help deal with in one way or the other. And men can be involved because we know it lives in sperm for an unknown amount of time. Estimates could be as long as 6 months. And I don't know very many pregnant women who don't have a man in their life somewhere, father, brother, friend, husband. And so this is a public health emergency, and World Health Organization defined it as such a while ago. We need to take this seriously.
A few months ago, they actually reported that the urine testing for Zika was a lot more accurate than blood tests.
Correct.
Where do you...
100%.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, so right now this does really affect pregnant women most because the American Congress of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, so people can go online, acog.org, just put up a practice advisory yesterday, updated. It is very thorough and comprehensive. It talks about testing, Raven. It talks about urine and blood testing, in some cases amniocentesis. Urine testing appears to be the most accurate for diagnosing Zika, but here's the thing that people need to remember. 4 out of 5 people who are infected with Zika show no symptoms. Okay, so it's obvious if you have symptoms, you're going to go to your healthcare provider. If you're pregnant, you're going to tell your midwife or obstetrician, and they're going to test you. But now it's being recommended that if you are possible exposed to the Zika virus and you're pregnant, you should be assessed for
What are the symptoms? Because I want to know what the symptoms are, and how long does it stay in your system?
Unknown how long it stays in your system. Again,
Completely unknown.
Yes, at this point we're saying potentially anywhere from 8 weeks to 6 months, okay? And symptoms, fever, pink eye, rash, muscle pain, these are very common symptoms, but if you have been in an area where there is Zika, which is again the whole south part of the country and the Caribbean, the Americas, you should be tested. And just to get back to Raven's question, if you're not pregnant, neurologic issues, Guillain-Barré, it can make you really sick. This is something, it's no longer okay to just point the finger and say it's just for pregnant women, because you know what the mothers say, if you point a finger, 3 are pointing back at you. This affects all of us.
It certainly does. We know that you're an OB-GYN, and we want to change subjects a little bit. You just are releasing your new book. I know you're excited about it. You delivered on this one, so to speak. Yeah. It's called Eat This, Not That When You're Expecting. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I pushed it out. The motivation really for the book came from wanting to create the definitive guide for eating from a medical and nutritional standpoint. And you guys know, we see it all the time. Doctors always on television talking about food, diets. Guess how much formal education doctors get in med school about nutrition?
Really?
Pretty much. And nutritionists who know a ton about food, really, they don't go to medical school, so they talk about health and disease, and they're missing knowledge. So I wanted to be the hybrid, went back to school, oh my gosh, was it hard, got a master's in nutrition from Columbia, and put together this book, really, whether you're pregnant or not. I always say, like, live like you're pregnant, because that's usually the healthiest we try to be. And we went through every item in every fast food restaurant, every aisle in the grocery store, put these head to head, tell people what to choose, what not to choose.
That's what I like most about the book. I read it, I'm like, wait a second, this is just healthy eating altogether, and I'm not pregnant yet.
100%.
And I really liked that. So
Well, Jennifer, it's always lovely to see you, and I think the next book title is Live Like You're Pregnant.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a good title for you.
For menopause. We need that too. Right.
Too late for me. Girls are all going to be in it. I'm happy to read it. So I'll just fan all of you.
Thanks,
It'll be fun. So much fun to watch you all sweat. Thanks to Dr. Jennifer Ashton. Members of our audience are going home with a copy of Eat This, Not That When You're Thursday. And we are live streaming after the view on Facebook Live, so post your questions and comments, and we may read them. And also, Paula, your husband's turning 40.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So maybe we'll talk about what you could get him besides your usual.
I haven't purchased him. Yeah, the usual. He's getting that. But I haven't purchased him a thing. Not a thing.
And also, we saved the best news for last because I'm thrilled to announce that Sunny, Jedediah, and Sarah Haynes have officially joined the View family.